Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the We Talk Media podcast football segment. And today we are joined by a very special guest. Now, you may have heard his voice on the Misery Hunters podcast or on even some on commentary. I'm joined by Mark Jardine. Mark, how are you?
Good, Robbie. Cheers for asking me on for a chat.
Yeah, no bother. So let's just get right into it. So obviously, for people who don't know, who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Mark Jardine. I'm a Mirren fan of many years. Around I guess 4 years ago now, I started writing a blog around the time that Oren Kearney was moving on, replaced by Jim Goodwin, and then things have just kind of snowballed off the back of doing that from my bedroom. Basically, I ended up getting approached by Amy and Craig, who started the Misery Hunters Summer podcast. They needed someone to fill in who had an idea about Summer and wrestlers for a pun thing they were trying to do, and so I joined in, and then that was a couple of years ago now, and I've kind of joined in with those guys on a weekly basis since.
Yeah, so obviously you helped me a ton when I first started my blog page as well. I remember you were friends with my English teacher actually. And then
Yeah, her big sister was in my year at school, and she's actually really good friends with my sister as well. So I'd seen you on Twitter before that. I was kind of familiar with your account and everything else, but it was a bit strange when it was you that then landed in my DMs after that as well.
I know it was very strange for me as well because she first showed me it and I was like, I actually know who that is as well. But how big has like the Misery Hunters been for you guys? Because obviously we've seen over the years you've had the live show, you're now on commentary with St Mirren. How big's that been for you guys?
Okay, it's massive. I think the timing of it was kind of perfect for me. I first joined in, maybe I might get my dates slightly wrong here, but I'm sure it was just around the time that football was cancelled for that first lockdown season. If it wasn't around then, then it was maybe just after. And so went from going to the football, at least once every 2 weeks, if not a bit more than that, if I could get to away games, and having folk to talk to about that constantly, to not really having that. Watching games in your living room wasn't any fun for anyone. So I didn't know the guys that did the podcast beforehand. Really grateful that they took one look at my Twitter pattern, and didn't run a mile. It meant that then once a week I was having someone to chat to, and there's now 6 guys, well, including me. There's 6 of us who I'll bump into, even if we're not doing the commentary stuff. I'll bump into the game, I'll bump into how you get to know their friends that they go to football with and stuff, and all of a sudden I've got a much bigger kind of network of people to chat to about the football. That's been the biggest thing, and that's all I was ever really after from it. It was just a chat about it, man. There was no illusions of doing anything kind of bigger or getting close to more professional with it, and then it's just gathered a bit of pace. That the Patreon was a massive surprise for us. We talked about doing it a couple of times and just thought there's no way that anyone's going to chuck us a couple of quid for what we're doing for free. Anyway, we were paying, between the 6 of us, we were paying a few £100 a year to host all the stuff that we had to host and do all the other bits that we do, and we now make that every few months, and that's what it means. We can spend money on prizes for folk, for giveaways, and we sponsored a couple of players' shirts this year and stuff. So all of that's just kind of come out of not having anyone to talk about the football and lockdown seasons, and here we are. The commentary is the best thing. Absolutely. I wouldn't have ever had the confidence to go and ask about who does that. I just assumed that the club had their people, and they ask you, and we'd ask the question anytime we could get hold of anyone. We'd ask the question. So we got Keith Lasley on for an interview, and as soon as the interview was over and we stopped recording, we were just hounding him, asking about commentary and how you get to do it, and if you're ever stuck. And then it wasn't that much longer after. It was a few months after that we got a phone call from someone at the club to say that the normal commentator couldn't do a game at short notice, and so we drew lots between the 6 of us, and I think Jamie and Sam got the first one, if I remember, against Hibs, I think, home, and so they jumped onto that at short notice, and for whatever reason, the club seemed to like our nonsense, so they tend to give us a kind of runner 5 or 6 at a time now to sort out between ourselves and to take it from there. But it's just everyone's dream, isn't it? I'm probably not the only guy that sat playing Football Manager or ever and commentated himself on the game he was playing. So to get the chance to do it officially is a bit mad, really.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do sound good on commentary, if I'm never at the games, if it's an away game and I'll see you guys on, you always sound great. I think it was Andrew and Craig were on the St Johnson commentary. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they sounded great as well on commentary, so you wouldn't think now, looking back, like, you guys, like, obviously you were saying you didn't know most of them when you first joined, like, you wouldn't think that, like, you all get along so great, and I think you can hear that when you're listening to it as well.
No, I think we've all kind of naturally got on. All of us, apart from Andrew, went to the same high school, which I think was your high school as well. Andrew's the spare part. He went to the same high school as Keith Liz, actually, out in Erskine. So we all kind of know roughly the same people. I was aware of a couple of the boys before I spoke to them without ever having kind of spoke to them myself. So I kind of knew from that we knew similar people and probably had similar senses of humour and all the other stuff. But it's just the podcast we put out is about an hour. We probably record for 2.5 hours a week once we put in the Patreon stuff and all the stuff that has to get cut out because we don't have enough money for lawyers. So you get to know people. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of those guys more than I've spoken to a lot of other folk that I've known for a lot longer over that period of time, just because you get a reason to kind of show up and do it. But no, I think we all got on really well. I mean, Sam was actually in my youngest sister's year at school, so it's a bit terrifying for me, really, that my baby sister's, someone of that age is now someone that I talk to on a weekly basis. It's a bit odd, but yeah, no, I think we're all relatively like-minded. Well, I think we don't tend to have particularly strong biases one way or the other. I think if we're ever all arguing in the same direction, it's probably because we want everyone to kind of be fair and kind of take on other viewpoints. It's usually that we're arguing something's wrong as opposed to trying to tell everyone that something else is right. I think we don't take ourselves too seriously, and that's the kind of heart of it, basically.
Yeah, and obviously it's based around one football club, so we have had a alright season, I'd say. I mean, up and down at points. How do you think the season's gone so far for us?
No, it's been really good for a season for us to start doing commentary. It's been absolutely perfect because there's been more wins than just about any season I can remember, and we're only in March. So it's been enjoyable. I think there's lots of good stuff to focus on when you're having to talk about it without a break for a couple of hours. So this year we've had lots of red cards, which is great. We've had strikers diving on the line to stop goals and give away penalties, and then those penalties being missed. We've had Charles Dunn wearing an Aberdeen shirt and then getting taken to court by the rest of the squad. So it's not just that we're playing well; it's that there just seems to be a really good spirit this year. That everyone's having a laugh. Everyone seems to like the manager, and the manager kind of lets everyone go and have a laugh themselves and encourages that. So it just feels like everything's in place this year. It's not just that the team's getting results, and that's what it is. We're playing well a lot of the time, and even when we're not playing well, there's something to poke fun at and to bring up. So I've it's aside from maybe the 6 months to stay in the Championship under Jack Ross, this is maybe the most I've enjoyed following St Mirren regularly this season. There's just a level of consistency that I've wanted for so long, and it's just not been there. So it's been great. How are you enjoying it this year? Is it?
It's been really.
Is it rank?
Obviously, I'm a young St Mirren fan, so I've not been following the club for that long. I sort of remember hints of the 2013 League Cup win. Obviously, the Championship one was my biggest sort of season for us, so
Yeah.
it's been good. I think January hit hard because Ethan Erdogan obviously left, and we really didn't know how we were going to get on with that front, but we've seen okay since then. I thought the Ross County game really showed, like, I think it was County, showed how much we sort of miss Erdogan in that midfield area. I think he was one to sort of drop in there and show what he can do, obviously, because he got some amount of abuse of us particular fans last season stuff, and obviously the whole social media stuff that happened as well. But no, it's been really great, and hopefully it tops off with a top 6 when it's finished.
I think so. I think we're certainly capable. I think I was going to say there's kind of 3 teams at the top and kind of 2 at the bottom, and then everyone else is basically fighting it for. Yeah, but even Hearts aren't that far ahead now either. And the third, it feels like the last couple of seasons, the Rangers and Celtic, it's not as if they're getting better, but no one's keeping quite as much pace with them, and there hasn't really been someone who's stunk up the division for the full season, and they're down from kind of day 2 or day 3. Everyone's just been squashed into that bit in the middle, and I think we could have done a better job of capitalising that over the last couple of years. I think Goodwin certainly could have done it in 2 of the times that he had, one in particular. And then even last season, I think if I wasn't that convinced by Goodwin towards the end, I know he had a good run. I'm in 2 minds about whether or not if he stayed last season, if we would have got over the line and stayed that bit more consistent, we probably would have ended up finishing slightly better than we did under Robinson, given his kind of teething problems. But it got us to this point, so I don't regret it. I think we've got a better chance now under Robinson and the squad he's got of doing it than we did any season before. I feel like we're a stronger team.
Yeah, and what do you think quickly just of Goodwin going to Dundee United? How was that get announced?
It's a strange one, to be honest. I mean, I don't want to rewrite history on Goodwin because I did like him for a lot of the time, but he's a very adventurous manager. I think times where we got a run of draws or consistent results or clean sheets under him, we created absolutely nothing. So he sacrificed all of that. I think the difference with Robinson is we're limiting teams to that same amount of chances, but we now break so much quicker and with so many more players committed that we're make more of it. We might only score 1 or 2 a game, but in those games we tend not to concede or only concede 1, and so we're not in too much danger. So it's not going to be the Goodwin at Aberdeen who had 3 million to spend and could sign strikers from the Portuguese league and international guys from Eastern Europe who are going to bully teams up front. He's got a really kind of weak-willed squad, it would seem. So you would assume to keep them up, he's going to have to go to playing that very defensive, safe football, and I don't know if they've got the personnel for it. You need to have a good keeper for that to work, and I'm not convinced you do. You need to have good centre halves for that to work, and I'm not convinced that they do. So it's a strange one. I think the fact that it's only a short-term deal probably says a lot about the level of confidence there is in him and maybe from him as to what they're going to do. But good luck to him. He's still a Summerland legend, even if we don't go on as managers anymore. But I hope he does well. I wouldn't want him to have a really bad experience and then to be struggling to get another job off the back of it. So
yeah, so I want to highlight quickly the next 3 games that we have. So obviously Celtic coming up first, then a away trip to Dundee United, and then at home to Livingston. How do you think those 3 games could go, and how crucial do you think they are in actual getting top 6 for us?
I think we probably need to be taking 4, if not 6 points from it. It's just the point of the season that we're at now. There's no getting away from it. We can't write off Celtic anymore. I think after that result at the start of the season, if we do what we do at home, then we'll give anyone a game. We've had Celtic and Rangers and Hearts at home this season, and I don't think we've lost yet against any of them in the home games. We need to take confidence from that. We can't just we can't do what Aberdeen did fairly recently and just sit right back and kind of hope that they don't run up too big a score. I think we need to try and stick to what we did. Livy and Dundee United kind of speak for themselves. If we're not getting into that Dundee United game expecting to win, then you kind of have to distrust some of the talk about belief that's coming out of the squad and the manager. I know he's very conservative and he doesn't like to commit to things, but if we're not going into that game expecting to take 3 points, then something's wrong. That's not to say it's guaranteed, but we need to believe that we're going into it. Livy's a funny one. I think Livy can be two very, very different sides. We absolutely should have beat them just before the new year. There, I was on commentary for that one, and it was sickening at the end not to capitalise on that. So I think again it's a tougher test than Dundee United, but the stage we're at in the season, if we think we're a top six side, then you need to be looking at 1, if not 3 points from that game. And to be honest, we probably need the 6 to ward off the teams below, given the runs that they've got compared to ours. So not expecting the world, but I think we either do it or we don't at this point. If we don't take enough points from this one, then we're not going to take them from the last 3 to try and save things the last minute. So
I mean, playing Celtic, Rangers and Hearts in your last 6 games in the run-in is difficult for us, especially Hearts and Rangers away. Not to say, so I feel like the Dundee United, Livy and then Kelly game at home at the last game before the split is 3 massive games for us.
Yeah, you're looking at 9 points from that, aren't you? If you want to hold off, and I think we were talking about it in our podcast group chat the other day, just ahead of record hours tonight, and just in terms of what to talk about. And I think it was Andrew pulled up Livingston's run in particular, and they've got a really, really favourable 6 games. So and I think they've got a game advantage on us still as well. So
yeah, I think so.
They might have filled on, but you're looking at that and thinking that takes care of one of the spots probably, and then you're just hoping that you keep ahead of Hibs and Aberdeen and St Johnstone are firmly in the conversation as well. You can't ignore them. So it's 3 games there that we just have to take something, if not everything, from, or we're starting again next summer, aren't we? So I'm not pessimistic. I'm hopeful.
I hope that's the season, because we've been waiting for that long enough now that it should be this season.
Yeah, God. I've been waiting longer than you as well. A good bit longer.
Yeah, I think I said it as well. Like, if it doesn't happen this season, when does it happen? Like, when will we eventually break that deadlock?
I've got a bit of faith in Robinson. I do feel like there's a kind of steady progression with what Robinson's doing. He very deliberately came in for the summer and changed about 30% of the squad. And I'm pretty sure he said he's aiming to do the same this summer. He'll move on guys like Charles Dunn, who I really like, still to sign a contract, and kind of led to believe he's on a bit of a wedge, whereas I think Stephen Robinson quite likes having 2 or 3 guys for that kind of wage. He can then, chop and change and hopefully turn something unexpected out of. So I think there will be a fair bit of change again this summer. We'd hope that means we'll have a squad next year which has the same level of improvement and progression again that this year's has, and we'll maybe have depth coming into this part of the season that we don't now. But you just need to wait and see, I guess. We're never too far from losing a couple of key players and then being in a bit of bother. So we'll just need to see. I'm not giving up on this season, Robbie. I think we'll do it. To show the faith.
Hopefully. I think that midfield is one as well, because obviously we lost Derrihan, as I said. Who do you think comes in for the Celtic game? Do you think Gogic goes into midfield, or will Gogic play the back, or will we have Kelty in the midfield? I don't think Gallagher's back. So I think Gogic is almost certainly going to be in defence. I would expect Flynn to keep place. You just get a bit of grit out of Flynn that you maybe don't get. Hopefully Bacchus is back, but I've not seen. I don't know if Robinson's done a pre-matcher yet, so don't know what he's saying about injuries. Don't know who, but I think there might have been another injury as well. Someone had mentioned to a first teamer that's not kind of made the news yet. So
don't know. Is the short answer.
It really doesn't.
I think Flynn probably stays in.
We always get these.
No, I think
this time. We just.
I think coming into this period, we had probably had a wider squad than we've had a long time in terms of cover. You know, we've got 3 left backs currently at the club. When's that ever happened before? Before Ayunga and Grieve were injured, we had 4 first team senior strikers and then 3 youth options. Are all capable of coming in. Don't remember us having that kind of depth and using it before. The amount of times under Goodwin that we had 4 subs named or 5 subs named, and just feels like that's gone. And that's with 6-7 injuries just now. So I wonder how much worse it would be if he hadn't signed the kind of backup options that he had. But if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Everyone's got injuries. You know, Celtic are always going to be able to field 2 full lineups that will probably challenge most teams in the league. It's the way it is, and we're always going to be just having to try our best to keep up with that. So no complaints from me. There's plenty of capable footballers there, and I think in Robinson got a really disciplined manager who gets the entire squad to buy into that. So one guy drops out, the next guy that's coming in knows exactly what's expected. You know, if that's Bacchus dropping out on the right hand side of the midfield 3, Couty's coming in, knows exactly what's expected of Bacchus in terms of pressing and what he has to do. If Ayunga's out for the season, then or if it's Grieve that comes back in or whoever it is in time, you know exactly what Ayunga has to provide in terms of pressing and defensive shape in order for our system to work. So Robinson only signs guys, I think, that sign up for that. Sorry, so we just need to hold on.
Yeah. So
I think we'll see.
So if we were to get Europe this season, that's a long stretch if we were to get any sort of Europe. How do you think we would do? Because obviously I had this chat with Gogsy the other week, and it doesn't seem optimistic that teams can do well against like teams from Ireland, considering they start their season earlier, getting into Europe than we do. So.
Get a bit of sympathy to that, but at the same time, I think if I was a Motherwell fan, I'd probably be trying to find reasons not to be embarrassed about getting pumped off Sligo Rovers. Like, and that's no disrespect to either Motherwell or Gogsy, but you would like to think that there's more in the tank here. I mean, you look at guys that we've signed, you know, like McGrath or McCarthy, who've been regular first teamers, and Dundalk and Cork, and come in, and ultimately McGrath moved on, and we're probably a slightly stronger team for it. I think we've got better defenders now than we had when we signed McCarthy. Motherwell themselves signed the guy that scored that free kick for them, Sligo, and he's away back to Ireland within one transfer window. So I'm absolutely not dismissive. You know, I don't. You know, I watched Coleraine under Kearney again, doing really well and getting through there. Did they put Motherwell out, or did they put someone out the previous? And then I think they lost to Maribor, or did they put Maribor out? Is that what it was?
I think
they're capable. Capable, and I think the timing of the season definitely helps. Also, I think if we're going to hold ourselves to the standard of trying to take points off Celtic and Hearts and Rangers and to compete with Livy and Aberdeen and Hibs, then there really shouldn't be any excuses for rolling up to play Derry City or St Pat's or whoever it was. You end up getting against. I'm away on my honeymoon for almost all of July, for the middle of July right through to the end. So if we do get to Europe for the first time in my lifetime, when I was a baby, I can't go. So I know this is selfish, but I hope we get a shite draw. No one gets the big amazing holiday that they're after. They're once in a lifetime, and then we can do that next season.
I mean, that's
that I can actually go.
That's all you want as a Sunderland fan. You just want one away holiday, just somewhere. And if
that one comes in the summer that I can't go, I will not be happy. I'll be having words with someone. So,
hopefully. So, what's next for Misery Hunters? Well, how are you guys looking in the future, looking ahead, and what's sort of the next steps now?
Sure. So I think really the whole thing with us, and we decided quite early, was we're never trying to take any kind of money out of it. So the Patreon just goes to trying to put on other stuff. So it's not as if we've got a particular Patreon number in mind to try and get to, so that we can draw money out of it. We just want, so this year we had enough money to sponsor 2 players. If it grows, then we'll maybe sponsor 2 players, but also sponsor something else. Or I think we are keen to try and get another live show booked, but we just need to wait and see. There's some news coming, I think, from Paisley Craft Beer that Jamie alluded to on the recent podcast, and that might have an impact on when we can do a live show. It's good news, but we'll wait and see how that goes. We did briefly talk to the club about getting to do one in one of the rooms at the stadium, but some people were pretty enthusiastic, and then other people weren't too bothered about letting us do it. So I don't know if that's on the cards. I'm doing commentary with Jamie on Sunday for the Celtic game. I think we're just keen to keep that going for as long as they'll let us. Sam and Jamie are the closest yet to going viral with this stuff after Ayunga scored against Rangers. So really all we want is for something to go viral off the back of a commentary. So you're looking at these kind of Old Firm games as the chance to, there's going to be people, a lot more people watching than would normally watch that end up with their commentary because of their hooky boxes and whatever. And people tend to record stuff and share it on Twitter and whatnot. So it's a good opportunity to try and say something daft and get it shared about. Everything that we kind of talked about initially about trying to turn this into, we've kind of been allowed to do. The BBC stuff, getting to write that regular thing for the BBC at the start of the week, that's really cool. Sky now tend to come to us for their transfer window columns for the club. I would still love to write something for the programme on a personal note. I've not done that yet, so I'll see if I can. I did something for the Hearts programme when we were at Tynecastle last, but I've not been in the Simon programme yet, so I'll try and get to that. The big thing we've got coming in a couple of weeks' time, 10 days' time, is our League Cup stuff. I can't give too much away, but in case some Simon fans are listening, but we've got one interview in the bag that we're going to release that I think is really cool, that I think people are going to really enjoy. We should have another couple, and then we're talking about what else we can do. So the plan is to have a few different things that we can release in the week leading up to the 10th anniversary of the Cup win, and that's been really cool. There was a day a few weeks ago where 3 of us independently all got responses from people that we'd been trying to chase for some stuff. And that was a bit of a this whole podcast nonsense has kind of been worth it type thing when you're getting, I can't say their name, but because we've decided that we're not going to tell anyone before we release it, but it was getting texted by someone in the morning. I was just like, I don't know how it got to the point where I'm just sitting in my desk at work being texted by someone that I've wanted to text for a long, long time. So that's the kind of stuff I'm just keen for us to keep pushing and doing and taking as many chances as we can in order to do that. And the big thing that we want to do that we're not currently doing is more stuff with the club. So turning the commentary and everybody else, they've let us sit in press conferences and to chat, kind of had the odd chat with the manager and very, very brief, but getting to chat fairly regularly now to the chairman and to Keith Lasley and whatever. So to turn that into coming into the club and recording something in person, ideally with the manager. Motherwell's team did a really good featured interview with Robinson when he was a manager there about his way of working and stuff, and I'd just love for us to do something similar. I think it would really benefit fans getting a bit of detail into how Robinson actually prepares the team and how we play the shape we do, and the hires that we've made in terms of recruitment. I think people would really benefit from hearing more detail about what those guys are doing and what the plan is. So pushing for that. If we get to do it, I don't know, but we are trying.
Yeah, hopefully. And I've got one last question. So out of all the people you've interviewed,
Go for it.
On the podcast, who's been your favourite so far?
So my favourite so far is the one that I can't tell you about,
Okay.
which I think we're releasing 10 days today, and I think you'll understand when we release it, because it was just the most enjoyable. I stayed on for about an hour and a half, did some stuff off the record, and did a good hour actually for the podcast. And I think when that goes out, I think that'll be the one that we've done that people are most interested in. Of the ones that I can mention, I thought the chairman was fantastic. He was really, really open, and we asked him some kind of tougher lines of questioning, and he didn't shy away from it. Kate Cooper, if you didn't listen to that one, the manager of the St Mirren women's team, she's not just the manager; she really is kind of every job available, because that's what it takes to get a women's team running with the level of support and exposure that they've got. That was fascinating. And again, I'll hold my hands up to say I don't know nearly enough about the women's game, and I should. I've now been to see them since that, and it's I would recommend it to anyone. It's people playing purely for the love of the game. They're not there because they're getting paid a handsome wage. It probably costs them money to do it in terms of equipment and travel and all the rest. And I don't know that I've ever spoken to anyone with the same level of passion that Kate has. So it's on the Misery Hunters podcast feeds on Spotify and everything else. I'd encourage people to go and dig that out if they've not listened, because it was a real eye opener. It was great.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on, Mark. It's been a pleasure. So,
I appreciate that, Robbie. Always nice to go on and talk about stuff I like. So
yeah,
that was good fun.
Whereabouts can people find your stuff, Misery Hunter stuff, etc.?
Sure. So Misery Hunters is just at Misery Hunters on Twitter. We've got a link tree with the same name that's got everything everywhere our podcasts are. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and all the Deezer and all the other ones that it tends to put on. My Twitter's at PTF blog, although I've not written a blog in about a year, so don't come to expecting long form content on any subject. It's mostly just memes and insults aimed at opposing players and managers. But if that's your thing, then I'll be on Twitter.
I'll leave everything below for everyone to check out. I've been Robbie, you've been Mark. Thank you so much for listening, and see you later. Bye.
Cheers, Robbie.